Welcome. This is Jonah Minkoff-Cern from the Democracy is for People campaign at Public Citizen. I'm honored to be introducing our second round of house parties as we build towards the Occupy the Anniversary action surrounding the January 21st two-year anniversary of the Citizens United v. FEC Supreme Court ruling that corporations can give unlimited amount to our elections. It's been an amazing month since we've talked last. Surrounding our last house parties, two ballot initiatives, one in Boulder, Colorado and one in Missoula, Montana, passed by a 3-to-1 margin, both calling to overturn the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling stating that corporations are not people by law and stating that campaign spending should not be a constitutionally protected form of speech. Since then, numerous more resolutions have been introduced in the U.S. House and in the U.S. Senate calling for constitutional amendments to overturn Citizens United. And these resolutions have gained support by well more representatives and senators than we could have imagined even a few months ago, because the incredible outpouring of support around the nation for a constitutional amendment and to state that corporations should not have this type of power over our government and our democracy. Just in the last week, the Los Angeles City Council and Albany City Council both passed unanimous resolutions calling for a constitutional amendment, both stating that corporations should not be given the same protections as people and that campaign spending should not be a protected form of speech. It's an incredible, these successes are because of the work of everyone here today. It's all of our work and our amazing energy that's taking place throughout the country, whether it's activists in Wichita, Kansas, who just spoke and brought a resolution to their city council, the over 100 people who spoke just recently at the Los Angeles City Council calling for a constitutional amendment and assuring a unanimous decision, or the actions that each of us are taking in our homes, in our living rooms, at the occupies, in cafes, in libraries throughout the country as we continue to organize and build momentum towards the 2-year anniversary of the Citizens United decision. And we work to make this day and these days surrounding January 21st, 2012 a significant national moment where we move forward in a big way the call for a constitutional amendment to say that democracy is for people, not for the corporations. And we are honored to have here today a legend of our time, Jim Hightower. Jim is a radio commentator, a writer, a public speaker, and an author. Jim, for decades, has been bringing a message to the public that Occupy Wall Street has made famous and prominent over the last few months. That we the people, the people on the bottom, the 99% as Occupy Wall Street refers to it, need to be in control and need to have our rights heard, our voices heard in our democracy, and that our country is in a crisis because it's the wealthy and the corporations who are controlling us. We're so honored that Jim is here to bring us this message today, to give us his words of support as we continue to build towards the 2-year anniversary of Citizens United. Thank you so much, Jim, for joining us, and I now pass it to Jim Hightower, speaking to us from Texas.
Jonah, thank you so much. Great to be with you and all of you good folks out there who are taking on this historic effort from the grassroots to restore democracy to our country. I appreciate you allowing a scruffy Texas populist to intrude, at least virtually, into your planning sessions here tonight, but particularly I thank you for your leadership as we plan this January 21st Day of Action for democracy in our country. I come to you not merely from Austin, Texas, but actually from South Austin, where I live. The attitude over there is pretty strong, and we have an unofficial slogan, we're all here because we're not all there. Well, we're all here in these planning sessions because our leadership, corporate and political, is not all there in terms of understanding the values of America, understanding the commitment that the American people have to real democracy. This is a big time for our country. It's a big time for you and me. Another of those when in the course of human events moments that Thomas Jefferson wrote about. It's no longer enough for us to be progressive. We've been progressive a long time. We've got to become aggressive again because the powers that be have turned radically regressive. The cokeheads and the greedheads who think that they can supplant our democracy with their corporate plutocracy. I was with our friend Bernie Sanders a couple of years ago at a political event. A guy came up wearing a political button. It was the best one I've ever seen. It said, "Wearing a button is not enough." Well, that's right, isn't it? We can't be a nation of button wearers, and that's what is happening today, is our country is beginning to fight back at the grassroots level. We see it, of course, with the Occupy movement all across the country. The Wisconsin Rebellion earlier this year. I was in Wisconsin at that big rally in March at the state capitol there. Phenomenal event. Farmers pulling together with workers. They had a tractorcade going around the state capitol. Old folks with children, teachers, environmentalists, everybody coming together. I saw a lady there. There were a bunch of handmade signs, and as I was talking, I looked over and this lady had a sign that said, "You screw us, we reproduce." Well, that's exactly what has happened across the country. The Ohio vote against John Kasich's assault on labor there, overwhelming opposition by the people to overturn that labor law, that vicious anti-labor law. The personhood amendments that, as Jonah indicated, are being passed at city council levels and state levels all across the country. It's up to us to do the real work of democracy. Really, it always has been in this country. So public citizen joining up with Move to Amend and People for the American Way, Common Cause, Free Speech for People, We the People campaign. We're undertaking a historic effort, and nothing is more important than getting this corporate money out of our political system. And until we do that, then we can't have the kind of progressive vision that Americans believe in: equal opportunity for all people, economic justice, fairness within our society. To do this, we've got to build a movement that can pass, ultimately, a constitutional amendment to say that a corporation is not a person, and to say that corporate money is not speech. To get that money out of our political system. And I know the cynics say, well, you can't do that. It takes too long. It's too hard. The American people aren't ready. They've got all the money on their side, et cetera, et cetera. Well, as a friend of mine who's been a pioneer in the organic movement put it to me once, said, Hightower, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be you. You good folks are the ones who are going to make the difference in this. And by the way, the people are ready. This is not something we have to convince the people about. You know, again, people say, well, it's so hard to get everybody together, so many different factions. It's kind of like trying to herd cats. But those who say you cannot herd cats never tried a can opener. They will come. And our can opener is that deeply held belief in democracy, deeply held belief in the rights of the people to be self-governing. Nothing is more important than that. And that's why there is now a broad support for a constitutional amendment. Even 68% of Republicans support a constitutional amendment to get money out of our, corporate money out of our political system. So our effort is not to create the movement, but merely to organize it, to strategize, to harmonize, and then to mobilize. And you are the leaders of this. Yes, we've got 7 bills, another one forthcoming, I understand, soon in the Congress to produce a constitutional amendment. But that's not going to pass in Congress without the pressure from the outside. That's the only thing that is going to make a difference. Grassroots power is what counts in this kind of fight. You are what America is all about. Ordinary mutts and mavericks taking charge of our system. On January 21st, we're going to have a big hoorah. all across this country as people rise up and force the powers that be, whether those are corporate powers or those are political powers or media powers, to pay attention to what it is that we the people actually want. It's not merely a matter of take America back. A lot of people say that, and including some people who want to take it back to the 1800s, back to the robber baron period. Rather, it's a matter of moving America forward, forward toward that bright light of democratic promise, the possibility of America, economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. That's up to you and me to make that happen. I'll leave you with this thought. It's from the great rocker Patti Smith. She has a wonderful song, "People have the power to dream, to rule, to wrestle the world from fools." That's what we're involved in. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Saposi-Belknap. I'm with Move to Amend, and I'm so excited that we're working with so many different organizations on this great project, and also thanks so much to Jim Hightower for your inspiring words. I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of the actions that you can do, and then we're going to talk about the other options so that you have a good sense of how to organize for your anniversary event. So Move to Amend and others are working on Occupy the Courts, which would be on Friday, January 20th, so that the courts are open. And it's a call to organize a one-day occupation of federal courthouses. And you can go to our website to see a list of the courthouses that we're suggesting you go to, and also which places have already signed on. There are 50 Occupy the Courts already, and more are coming on every day. And there are just over 100 federal courts around the country, so our goal is to have them all, including at Washington, D.C., where Cornel West and Tom Hartman and Medea Benjamin will be joining David Cobb from Move to Amend to do a big action involving a giant preamble to the Constitution and potentially some civil disobedience to let the court know that we're not okay with the fact that they have hijacked our democracy and given our rights to corporations. So you can be really creative with your actions. Many folks are doing skits on the courthouse steps and on the sidewalk. Other folks are making sure that they have creative signs so that people driving by can pick up on what's going on. There's a lot of materials on the website at movetoamend.org/occupythecourts for you to get inspiration, and we'd love to hear about what you're going to do, and if you develop any materials, we'll share them with others. But basically we're looking for a big action to let the legal system know that we want our democracy back, and we're going to hold them accountable for the Supreme Court on down colluding with corporations to give them constitutional rights. So thanks again to everybody who's working on this great project, and I'm really excited that we're going to have awesome actions on both Friday and Saturday between all our groups to really send a message that the time is now for us to take our democracy back and stand up. Thanks.
Hi, I'm March Baker with People for the American Way. Delighted to be with you today, and I don't know if you can hear, but we're in the middle of D.C. being occupied right now by protesters who are protesting against the income inequality and the corporate control of our government, and it's so timely that we're doing this call right now today. Listen to those sirens in the background. It's exciting because this is the people's movement, and People for the American Way and our members were delighted to be part of this movement to overturn the Citizens United decision and restore democracy to the people. We're part of this constellation of organizations that are joining together as one, as part of United for the People, to move resolutions around the country and through the U.S. Congress to overturn Citizens United. We are going to be speaking to you about the various actions that are going to be taken in addition to what we've already heard from Move to Amend. People for the American Way, on the anniversary day, is hoping to build a forum here in D.C. to celebrate the heroes around the country who are moving local and state resolutions, to learn about how they're doing it and what the effective tactics are that they're using, along with some heroes in Congress who have already introduced constitutional amendments, who have stepped up to the plate and have said, we really need constitutional remedies to overturn this drastic decision and to restore democracy to the people as soon as we possibly can. There's over 10 amendments introduced now already, and resolutions we've heard from Missoula to Los Angeles, from Boulder to Albany, New York. And we want to hear the stories about all the heroes who are collectively part of this movement to go forward. So on January 21st, we're hoping to have a forum that we can we'll put together and live stream to your homes and communities around the country. And we will stay tuned and we'll have some more details for you. And one other request as we try to create this collective movement, if any of you tweet, use J21. Use J21 tag as a way of saying we are all in this together. We are collectively protesting for the week leading up to and on the anniversary date, the need to overturn this drastic decision and restore democracy to the people. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and we look forward to hearing more about the activities that are being planned.
Thank you, Mart. Maram is now going to speak from Free Speech for People.
Hi everyone, this is Maram Abdelhamid. I'm the National Field Director for Free Speech for People. We're truly excited to be part of this constellation, and we're excited to have built partnerships in the States where we are trying to organize some events leading up to the anniversary and on the anniversary itself. We're encouraging our members to take advantage of the legislative sessions that are occurring during that time. As you know, January is going to be the beginning of most state legislative sessions, and we're encouraging our members to go ahead and connect with their state senators and state representatives in each of their states, and to make sure that resolutions are being passed, and to tell Congress that people, not corporations, govern in America. So we're so excited to be part of this campaign, and we're here fighting with you.
Great, Maram, thank you. And Doug is now going to talk from Common Cause.
Hi, my name is Doug Klopp with Common Cause here in Washington, D.C. And Common Cause is also incredibly excited to partner with the organizations here at this table and with you out in the States to work together to overturn the Supreme Court's egregious decision in Citizens United. January 21st, 2012 will mark a very important day in American history. It will be the beginning of a movement, of a national campaign, both in the States and here in Washington, to really reclaim our democracy and to take back our America. Democracy should always be for, of, and by the people. Unfortunately, the very narrow decision of the Supreme Court does not share that decision. It seems to be a decision that certainly supports the powerful corporations, the special interests, and the wealthy. There will be a number of actions that will mark this anniversary. As you've heard, there will be a take back the courts. There will be a occupy the corporations. There will also be, I believe, a number of events here in Washington, D.C. and around the country that will mark the beginning of a very important grassroots effort to address this. So we thank all of you for your house parties. Clearly, the house parties are the beginning, the foundation, the building blocks for what it's going to take this movement to all of your friends, your neighbors, and your communities. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Doug. Again, my name is Jonah from the Democracy is for People campaign at Public Citizen, and I just want to address a few of the things that we're going to be doing on January 21st for the Occupy the Anniversary events. And again, it's so exciting to have people marching by us as we record this. And today is a day where part of the marches, part of the plan Take Back the Capitol events here in DC is focusing on Citizens United. So it's an exciting moment in history, and it's great to be recording this event as that moment goes by our window and is in all of your living rooms and all of your community centers as you listen to us today. So I want to address two things that Public Citizen is going to be doing as we build towards January 21st. The first thing is we're working with some organizations here and Move to Amend to work to pass state resolutions. And we're going to be holding events around moving those state resolutions forward, likely in the 4 states that we're focusing on, in California, Massachusetts, Maryland, and California, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Vermont. So if you're in those states, we encourage you to link up with us and to link up with the actions to move forward the resolutions in those states. The other part of our nationwide day of action on January 21st is going to be Occupy the Corporations, Expose the Imposters. And we want to show and discuss and demonstrate and investigate to see whether corporations are people. So what we encourage you to do is to go out to a corporation in your neighborhood, in your community, and pick a corporation whose practices have been particularly egregious over the last years. We're encouraging people to target Bank of America because Bank of America, we believe, is a major spender as a result of Citizens United. Bank of America also has played a major role in foreclosures that have led thousands of people to lose their home. We encourage you to target ExxonMobil or Chevron for their roles in climate change denial and for pushing forward an agenda with their money, with their new power because of Citizens United, to stop the United States in its track from seriously addressing climate change. We encourage you to protest at Chevron or Shell because of their human rights abuses, or a Koch brother subsidiary because of the roles that the Koch brothers and their companies have played in electing people like Walker in Wisconsin who are working to destroy the labor movement in this country. We want to occupy these corporations, and we want to show and demonstrate through our public theater whether these corporations are people. So online right now, or in the short future, if it's not there yet, at democracyisforpeople.org. And again, democracyisforpeople.org, you'll be able to see a skit, a sample skit of what you could do at your corporation. And we want to ask corporations some questions to find out whether they are people. We want to investigate. Do they breathe? Do they reproduce? Is their life finite? Do they stay up at night thinking about the effects of their actions? All these things and many more ideas of what you can ask to find out whether Bank of America or Chevron is a person are available on our website on democracyisforpeople.org, and we encourage you to ask them and to find out and to investigate whether these corporations are people. And if they're not, then they should not be wielding the power that they are over our country, because democracy is for people. Democracy is only for people. And when the corporations use their incredible wealth and power to change the course of our country, then the decisions of our country will not be made in the interest of our people, but they'll be made in the interest of short-term profit of those corporations. And if corporations are not people, which we believe we'll discover, then we need to demand that our local politicians, our state politicians, and our national politicians take action to strip their rights as people away, to demand a constitutional amendment and to pass a constitutional amendment that stops corporations from having the rights of people, that stops individuals and corporations from having unlimited access to spending in our elections. That's not democracy, and that's not free speech. So again, just stepping aside as facilitator of today's event, we encourage you to take some sort of action around the Occupy the Anniversary events, to work with the organizations here and the many other organizations around the country who are joining us for a nationwide day and nationwide days of action surrounding the January 21st, 2012 two-year anniversary of the egregious Citizens United Supreme Court ruling that has placed the power of corporations and the voice of corporations clearly ahead of the voice of we the people. So thank you everyone for being here today, for joining us and taking action, and we are excited to continue to work with you to plan actions and to build this movement to take the power back for we the people. And again, thank you so much for Jim Hightower and for all our organizational allies who have joined us in speaking today. We're so excited to move forward, and we're so excited to keep building this movement to make the historical change that we know is possible and is necessary to happen. Thank you.
We have some late-breaking news we're absolutely delighted to share with folks. We just got word that commentator, author, and democracy activist Dylan Ratigan is going to be joining us and hosting the January house party call on his MSNBC show. We are so excited about this. More details to follow. We couldn't wait to tell you. So stay tuned for the January call. It's going to be really, really exciting.